Alright, what's up everyone? My name is Jason and welcome to my channel. This channel is mostly dedicated to the City of Heroes and City of Villains franchise, as well as the Going Rogue expansion. And this series is going to be about the City of Villains, which was an expansion, a big expansion to the very popular game City of Heroes. And City of Villains came out in 2005 and ran through 2012 alongside City of Heroes, which ran from 2004 to 2012. This game came out just a few months before World of Warcraft on the official release, so it's been around a while, or it had been. And through corporate means and a little bit of controversy, the game fell off live and died in 2012. The game has had a huge following, almost a cult following, and has kind of been off the scenes for the last 7 years. Many people have missed this game. In my opinion, it's probably the best MMORPG ever made. And I know a lot of people will argue with that, but from what I've played, this game still has me hooked, and I'm still finding something new in it even after all these years. So just a couple of years ago, a really awesome team of devs and enthusiasts like myself resurrected this game unofficially and brought it out to public servers. And it is a non-profit game. You can donate to keep these servers running and to play the game for free. And they are actually updating and keeping the content going as if the game were still live, which is absolutely amazing. It's more than anyone could ever ask for. And right now, currently, it averages about 1,500 to 2,000 players playing on the weekends, and anywhere from 700 to 1,000 during the weekdays. For me, I started playing this game in August of 2004 on the City of Heroes side, obviously. And when City of Villains released in 2005, I pretty much switched to the red side, man. I love the content a little bit more and really got hooked on it and kind of never looked back. One of the awesome things about City of Heroes and Villains is that they aren't separate games, even though they're in separate content fields. They share the same universe. You interact with players from the City of Heroes side. And same goes with the Going Rogue expansion. One of the other great things about this game is that it went down right before microtransactions and all of the garbage we have nowadays that goes after your wallet took effect. So this game is pretty pure and clean, and it's probably why it's able to be played today without any hard coding issues or anything like that. Now, it had just gone into the element of free-to-play, and I think that stuff was being geared up, and I think that's part of the reason why it died was the company that took over couldn't really see how to turn this into a money grab, a cash cow, without having to recode and spend a lot of resources redoing this game. So they started focusing on other games that did make use of microtransactions. But the point of this video is to take a brand new character. We're going to go through the process of making a new character and take him on the journey through the villains content. I am also going to be quad boxing another 3 characters to run in tandem with this one so that we can do all of these strike forces and have the minimum team required to do those. We will be teaming with other players where we can. So for the most part, it's about the journey. We're going to be, of course, reading through the dialogue and learning the lore and everything of this huge universe that has an awesome story to it. So as the music fades out, we're going to fade in to our first part of character creation. Alright, so here we are in the server select screen right after the login here. And I like to play on the server Excelsior because it has a higher population, and I play on the chat handle @Remus, as you see down there at the bottom of your screen there. And as you can see, I have quite a few characters here, and we are about to add another one. So for the new character, I chose to have just a natural origin, and decided that I'm going to go ahead and go with some masterminds for my little team. I kind of had a plan to do. Originally, I wanted to do necromancy, which is basically controlling zombies and stuff like that. But I eventually decided to go with thugs because I had a kind of a theme that I wanted to do. And I really wanted to do zombies because I really only used zombies once ever, and that was back on live. And I didn't even get him finished to level 50 because I was one of those people. I was starting so many characters and just not finishing them. I had characters everywhere. So, and I'm kind of doing the same thing now. But either way, so I decided to take thugs here, and this was the decision right here that I really had to make. And that's that secondary power set, which I decided to go with cold domination. It has a nice blend of debuffs and buffs. Something else I decided to do, so the name selection was going to be the hard part. Obviously, you could not use Kingpin, and the reason why is because it's like a copyright issue. For DC and Marvel and all that stuff, all those kind of characters are coded out of the game. So I wanted to make a character named Headpin instead. So now we move on to one of the features in the game that attracted a lot of people and still does on just about any game, and that's the costume creation screen. At the time, City of Heroes and Villains had an enormous combination of costume pieces and or an enormous amount. You had so many things you could do, and these are actually presets that I'm looking through right here. Just thousands and thousands of different combinations that you could make. No two characters were the same, and just to give you an idea of just how in depth you could go with your character creation. They had costume contests, and sometimes the servers would be full on those days, and they still have costume contests. That's how unique and diverse your character was. There were no two characters the same, unless, of course, you took the preset costume pieces, and you just happen to have the same colors. And I've never seen that happen. So here we're going to go through the costume creation. My idea is to kind of make like a skinny Kingpin because his name is Headpin. It's kind of my satire kind of thing, or not really satire, but kind of my knockoff version. So I'm going to make him a bald-headed guy. Of course, I was originally going to do like a slick back hairdo kind of thing, but I just really couldn't find the hair that I wanted to do. You can go to the scales and change some of that stuff, but I eventually went with a bald head and went that route. Now, of course, I know some of you younger folks are going, man, these graphics suck. And look, man, I'm telling you, content is king always. And back then, these graphics are actually considered to be really, really good, especially when you got into the open world, when you saw how awesome the detail was. And even today, it still looks absolutely wonderful. But I know it doesn't compare to the modern games, but if you took the content from this game and put it into a modern game, you'd have another blockbuster. You wouldn't even need microtransactions to keep the game going. So, again, it's all about options, man. Being able to do what you want to bring a character into the game that has his own look. Nobody else like it. So we're just gonna move on through here. I wanted him to dress kind of snazzy, like he's in a suit. Like he's the head pin here of the gang, the bowling gang, if you want to call it that. And again, there's all kinds of options that you can do here. And I ended up eventually going with a good old casual one, kind of like I dress in real life. So figure why not? And I got a bald head too, so maybe I'm kind of making myself here. So here at this point, I am going to kind of speed up the costume building here and get to the final product before we move on to the powers. So here's pretty much the finished product here, and oddly enough, I made him pretty much look just like me. So I guess I am the head pin in this case. I was going to try out some sunglasses here, but I ultimately decided he looks just fine just without them. So of course, you have other costume slots. You can always do different costumes and change costumes in the middle of the game. So, but for now, it's gonna leave all that stuff off of his face. So now we move on to our powers customization, and I remember when they released the issue that allowed you to change the colors and all that stuff of your superpowers, and that was a huge deal, man. That was so awesome because now it even made you more diverse, more unique. So now your powers didn't look like everyone else's powers when you say threw your ice bolt here or anything like that. Now you could have your own color combinations and everything, and you could actually stand out from everyone else. And the other thing about it was this game back then was very graphics card intensive. So, I mean, I was running, I believe, a 256 megabyte graphics card, an ATI Radeon, and ended up getting a 512 and ended up getting a 1 gigabyte, which you could only run an SLI. They didn't even have a 1 gig graphics card out. It's back when I was doing Alienware all the time. And so they made like minimal effects options and stuff to help bring down a lot of the power spam, as we used to call it, that just really taxed your computer when you were in big groups of people and there's just all these powers and pixels and sprites and just everything just exploding all around you nonstop. Your frame rate, man, I've had some issues where my frame rate would drop down to like 3 in the middle of a big fight. And when this minimal FX here came up, oh man, it was night and day difference. They really worked hard on making sure everybody could play this game if you had even a low end system. So yeah, totally, they had some great options here. Now, one thing I will say for this game, I am running a high end card, an RTX 2080 Ti. And of course, this game wasn't optimized for cards like that. Um, they quit doing updates and all that stuff back in 2012. So even though I can run everything at full blast with absolutely no problems at all, it does cause my card to get extremely hot, up in the 80 degrees Celsius range. So I run most everything at very high, but not everything at ultra. The difference versus the heat trade-off isn't worth it. So now we're going to do our bio, which is one of the cool features in the game. I'm one of the people who likes to do his backstory for other people to see when they open up the info on my characters. It just kind of adds to the to the diversity or the uniqueness of your character creation. So as you can see, I just kind of I usually just whip out a backstory off the top of my head here. I did have kind of a template, but as far as like a name for my character and all that stuff, I just kind of develop it as I go, and that's what makes it so fun. It's not even I know what I'm going to come up with. All of my characters, I always start them off with the top line up there that you see that says avid player of champion and virtue servers 2004 to 2012. Just in case I run into some old friends that I haven't played with in a long time, and maybe they've come back into the game and they're like, "Oh my God, I remember playing with you," and I made some really good friends that I actually went and visited in other states from this game. So that tells you how awesome the community was at that time. So I'm going to speed up my creation here, and we'll look at the finished product here in just a moment. So just in watching this as I'm narrating it, I have found two typos that I have made, and it's driving me crazy because I'm very picky about. Well, it looks like I fixed one of them. I'm very picky about grammar and stuff, and sometimes I get carried away when I'm making my stories, and I'll completely skip words because I'm so far ahead with my mind that my fingers can't stay up. So, but either way, this is basically the his backstory, and we'll go ahead and move on to our next phase here. So here I have elected to skip the tutorial and go straight into the game, and this is where you spawn in. But first I'm going to tweak the graphics just a little bit here to keep the heat down. As you can see, I'm running a 2080 Ti, and my temperatures are getting pretty high because I have everything set at pretty high levels. A lot of it is the particle physics and suppression of FX when you're close. That really ramps up the heat on my card. And again, it's not an issue with the card as much as it is just the optimization is that bad. So I kind of turn some things down and keep my heat right around 55 to 60 degrees Celsius, and that's pretty good for me. And that's in the really heavy spots of the game. All right, so now that that's done, now I can move into the key mapping and actually start setting my keys the way that I like to have them set up. And in the old days on live, you used to be able to save your configuration file of all of your options and all your settings, especially the key mapping. And I was able to save that, and then if I made a new character, I could just load that template in and not have to go and manually make all these changes. But it doesn't work right, at least in this version right now. And I know on Discord they're saying it still doesn't work, so no big deal. I'm used to doing it to where it's like clockwork to me. And speaking of clockwork, so now I am setting up my trays, or my UI basically, on how I like it. And I have a certain format that I like to run it. And I do this for just about all my characters. Now, of course, the powers are all in kind of different spots, except for my common powers that are the same across all different characters and classes, like temporary powers and prestige powers. But as far as the layout, it's all basically the same here. And for anyone who's new to this game, this is a pretty good little section here for you to see how easy it is to expand your windows, add trays. Basically, if you're familiar with Microsoft Windows and how you can move all those windows around, this is very close to it. I mean, you can right-click on the window and get your options. Just a really easy to use Very nice UI. I remember when Star Wars came out, the old Republic, and you actually had to pay to get extra tray slots. It was ridiculous. And here you can have up to 9 trays for free. Even part of your sub. That was part of your sub. So anyway, we're going to finish up our UI setup here, and we're going to bring in Mood Swing Mike, one of my other characters here. So you have to pardon some of the garbling. I'm using my wireless headset, and every time someone sends me a text, it interferes with it right when I'm narrating, and my phone's all the way on the other side of the office. So here we have Mood Swing Mike. He's one of my other characters on one of my other accounts, and he's rich. He does a lot of farming for people, to get them XP and stuff. So he's got a lot of money. And this is what I usually do with new characters. I go ahead and I open up a trade dialogue and send them money, and then I invite them to my super group and promote them so that I can do anything that I need to do in the super group base. And the base has all kinds of enhancements and recipes and salvages and all kinds of little things that can help a new character along. So I'm going to go ahead and take you guys on the base tour real quick of the supergroup base that I have set up for myself. Alright, so before we go hit the supergroup base, we are going to, well, first we're going to pick up this exploration badge. As you can see, there's a portal right there, and you usually can see it a lot better, but I have some of the graphics turned down where it doesn't show up as much. But here is what is called the pay to win vendor, and it's not really pay to win, it's a joke. That's why they named it that. And she has all of the veteran rewards, all of the prestige rewards, all of the temporary powers that you used to earn in the game or you got from part of your sub. These are all free, or you can pay with your in-game infamy. You can buy some of these items because these are no longer able to be acquired if the game is no longer live, like the stuff you get from your veteran rewards every 3 months. You got a special ability with your badge if you subbed. And so obviously it's not something that they can keep going. So they made this vendor, and instead they just made it to where some of it was free and some of it you just used your in-game money and bought. And there's some really, really cool powers and things to help you along. For instance, like, you have a team teleporters, and it has a 30-minute cooldown, but you can teleport your entire team to your location. You have what are called mission transporters that will transport you to the mission. You have the reveal, which basically it removes the fog of war. In the zone and in the on your maps. You have self-reses, so you don't have to go to the hospital every single time. At least it reses you, which means it revives you if you get killed right there on the spot, and actually buffs you a little bit so that you can survive long enough. And then you have all these little attack powers here, and I'll go over those later on in a mission with one of our first contacts. But other than that, this is kind of how I set up my characters initially before I get started with them. I get all the temporary and all that stuff, all those little powers and whatnot. So now that she's all set up, we're going to head on into the supergroup base here. Alright, here we go. So every zone has one of these base portals, these red portals. And they look a little bit better and easier to find. Like I said, I have the suppressed graphics up close on, and so this supergroup base here, I actually built myself. The walls, the floors. I got the power generator there that powers everything. It's a functional base that you, on live, what you had to do is earn prestige, which was basically kind of like supergroup currency in order to purchase a lot of these things. And you earn prestige. The more members you had, the more prestige you were earning when they were doing missions and killing enemies. So instead of that, the new devs decided to just make everything free. It doesn't cost any prestige, so you could build your base, your dream base, for nothing at all. And so this is what I built, basically just a massive storage unit for all of our recipes and enhancements. You know, salvage, like rare salvages, as you can see here, and I try to carry 5 of all the rare salvages for like the level 50 stuff. So yes, there is a lot of crafting element in this game. These are the purple recipes. These are worth a ton of money in the game, and very, very rare, hard to get. And then some special, my special type of salvages here. Usually that's a lot more full, but I've been using them lately. These are all your recipes, and that's something we'll touch on way later in the game when we get in higher levels. Procs, they're also part of recipes, but they do things like they have a chance to do damage or chance to do this or that. There's your merit vendor, and then there's all your salvage storage. So you do a lot of crafting in this game for recipes. It's not too complicated at all. It's actually very, very easy. And here you have the teleporter room. And what this is basically, these are all the zones in the game, both hero and villain side. And these teleporters allow me to come into the base and teleport to any one of my zones. I don't know what's up with that one there. It broke or something. That's kind of weird. I can teleport anywhere I want in the zone. I can arrive to any zone without actually having to jump on ferries and fly all over the place. So pretty simplified. So this is my little base. It's very generic, nothing special, but it's very functional for how I like to play the game. So that's pretty much going to do it for the City of Villains intro here and getting our character set up. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to start with Mercy Island, which is what you see here in the screenshot of where we start off in the game. And we're going to begin with a tour of Mercy Island, a flyby tour, and then start working on our contacts and missions and the lore and the storyline behind everything. So sit back and relax, because there's going to be hours upon hours of content just for this one zone alone. And as always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more zones and content. And I will leave you with the rest of the City of Villains title theme song. A really, really awesome composition here.